It's pretty wild how sometimes just one day's worth of headlines can tell you everything you need to know about a country's game plan. Seriously, a single 24-hour news cycle can lay out a nation's ambitions, its biggest challenges, and its strategic direction for years to come. And today, we're going to see that in action with India.
So, let's jump right in. How can a bid for a sporting event, a major trade dispute, and a diplomatic summit all be connected? And more importantly, how can they show us exactly where a global power is heading? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to piece together right now to really get a handle on India's grand strategy.
First up, let's talk about the long game. We're looking at ambition on a massive scale here, playing out in two totally different arenas, one right here on planet Earth, and the other, well, way out in the cosmos.
And this reveals this fascinating two-part strategy. On the one hand, you've got India bidding to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games. That's a classic soft power play for global prestige. But on the other hand, it's launching a joint lunar mission with Japan, a real hard power move in science and tech. They're two completely different fields, but they're both aimed at the exact same thing, securing a seat at the world's most important table.
And you got to understand, these aren't just one-off events. Nope. That Commonwealth bid, it's a clear stepping stone towards a much bigger prize, hosting the 2036 Olympics. And at the very same time, that Chandrayaan mission is out there looking for water on the moon. Literally a resource for the future. You see the pattern, right? One move builds India's reputation on Earth, while the other secures its footing in space. It's brilliant.
But look, having a long-term ambition is one thing. To actually achieve it, a country has to navigate the really intense challenges of today. And for India, right now, that means stepping onto the economic battlefield.
The main conflict is this. The United States just slapped a huge 50% tariff on Indian goods. I mean, this is a major economic shot across the bow from one of the world's biggest economies, and it's absolutely designed to put on some serious pressure. So the big question is, how does India respond?
Well, the response was immediate and it was crystal clear. The Commerce Minister, Piyush Goyal, came out and said, India will not bow down. That sets a really defiant tone. But words are one thing. What's actually backing up that kind of confidence?
The confidence behind that statement, it pretty much boils down to a single number, 7.8%.
That was India's GDP growth in the last quarter, the highest it's been in over a year. And that matters a lot, because this isn't just a statistic in a report. It's the economic fuel that's allowing the government to stand its ground and push back against all that external pressure.
And this economic strength is also a super powerful part of their public narrative. So when a critic called India a dead economy, the agricultural minister just pointed to these very GDP numbers and declared it a long-live economy. It's a perfect example of using hard data to project confidence and resilience on the world stage.
Okay, so we've got future ambition and we've got present-day economic defiance, but neither of those things works in a vacuum, right? That brings us to the third front, the third piece of this puzzle. A really significant diplomatic pivot to the east to build a whole new axis of influence.
Now this is a huge development. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in China for his first visit in 7 years. And this is not just some routine trip. It's for a really high-stakes summit that could signal a major realignment of global partnerships.
The summit he's attending is for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or the SCO. And to get why this is so important, you just need to know what the SCO is. It's a massive Eurasian alliance focused on politics, economics, and security. And more, analysts are seeing it as an emerging counterweight to the traditional Western-led alliances.
I mean, just look at the leaders gathering for this meeting. You've got Xi Jinping of China, Vladimir Putin of Russia, Masoud Pezeshkian of Iran, and of course Narendra Modi of India, all sitting at the same table. That visual alone tells you a powerful story about the formation of a really significant geopolitical bloc, one with interests that are very distinct from the West.
So, we've looked at three very different arenas: future ambitions, a big economic showdown, and a major diplomatic pivot. Now, let's pull all these threads together and see the full picture.
What today's news really shows us is a nation that's operating on three fronts all at the same time. You've got the long-term play for global prestige through sports and space. You've got the immediate economic defiance, standing firm against a superpower backed by some seriously strong growth. And finally, you have the strategic realignment, actively building partnerships within a whole new geopolitical axis.
So you see, these aren't just random, disconnected news stories. They are threads of a single, cohesive national strategy.
And it all leads us to this one critical question. When you combine a rising economy, powerful new alliances, and just a ton of bold ambition, what does India's multi-front strategy really mean for the future of the world order?